What's up, guys? Stas here. So the markets did not do so well today. We had the S&P 500 down 1.5%, Dow Jones down 0.5%, Nasdaq down over 3%, and the Russell 2000 ended up going down almost 3%. So I want to break down the markets today, go over some technicals, and of course, we're going to talk about 7 stocks to buy now and what stocks I own right now. So make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, go down below, get 2 stocks from WeBull, $10 from M1 Finance, and $10 from Coinbase. All of those are free, and make sure to also get into the Strive Smart Discord chat. That's also free. All of those are linked right down below. So as you guys can see, the markets did not do well today, and that's on the back of yesterday where Jerome Powell kind of reassured investors a bit, made traders, investors more comfortable, and as you guys can see, the market surged yesterday as he had that press conference, as he talked about, the interest rate, all that good stuff, the economy, inflation, all that stuff. Markets popped, and then today we saw a gap down. We tried to fight at 39.50 when it comes to the S&P 500. That was a previous all-time high, as you guys should know by now. So we tried holding that as a support. That was looking good. We actually ended up rallying to about 12 p.m., as you guys can see on the East Coast here. We filled the gap pretty much to one of the big supports from yesterday's session. The S&P held at 39.70 at about 3:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we actually filled the gap all the way to that point, and we failed from there. As you guys can see, we collapsed after that point. The S&P went all the way back to 39.50. We held it, saw a bit of a relief rally, but we hit a lower high, as you all can see, and then boom, it dropped. And let me tell you guys, it dropped. It went from 39.65 all the way to 39.10 and lost 1.3% of its value in the last that was the last 2 hours. Yeah, about the last 2 hours there. And we had the 10-year bond yield explode today, up 5.4%. It went up over 1.7. In fact, it's at 1.73 as I'm filming this video. And we talked about how this was a possibility. I've mentioned this. There's a lot of people out there that even think this 10-year is going to go to 2%. And I've mentioned this before. Last week or the previous week, the past couple of weeks, honestly, we've seen the 10-year heat up. It went from 1.4 to 1.6. That's when the markets were selling off. Then it cooled off a bit. We saw the spike here in the markets. We got Jerome Powell talking to us, giving the markets, traders, investors more certainty. And then now we're seeing that spike right back up in this 10-year, and that's definitely attributing to the sell-off. Not so much in the Dow. Dow only went down 0.5%. That's pretty normal, right? But it is attributing to the sell-off in the tech stocks, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But first, let's look at some levels on the S&P 500. Take a look at this. 39.15, which I've been talking about a lot on the channel, is still holding right now. We actually closed right above it. That was resistance back in the beginning of March. You guys can see we actually held that as support in the middle of March. That was actually about a week ago, and we rallied from 39.15 to that all-time high, and now we're right back at 39.15. So for tomorrow, I think if we gap under this, there's no question we're going to that next level I've been talking about, which is 3,900, which is just a 15-point gap down. That could easily happen tomorrow. And then from there, if we break under, especially the 180 moving average here on the hourly chart, if we take that out, that's at about 38.90. Who knows where the S&P could be going at that point on the lower end here. We could be going 38.70, maybe the 180 moving average here on the 4-hour, which is at about 38.35. So watch out for those levels. I believe that is where we could be going. And I've mentioned before, we've rallied straight the past couple of days, so we've needed this pull down, whether it was at 39.80. I mentioned it could go to 4,000, 4,050. It obviously didn't do that. It pulled pulled back before it got there, and this is the pullback that I've been, waiting for, kind of, right? It's gotten a bit overheated, and who's to say it can't go to 3850, lower 3800s? I mean, I think that's possible. The Nasdaq 100, let's pull that up. This one is looking a lot more bearish, but let me show you a couple of things I'm looking at now. One thing is, okay, this 4-hour chart clearly shows we got hit at 13,300. That's not good. That was resistance a couple weeks ago, right? And now we're actually pushing for those lows from a couple trading days ago, a couple weeks ago, actually, at about 12,200, 300, 500. That is where we're pushing right now, especially as we went down 413 points today. So I think one possibility here is we end up taking the lows out from a couple weeks ago, or maybe we just get close to those lows. That's possible. That's scenario number one, as you guys can see based on this arrow. But scenario number two is this could be an inverse head and shoulder. Haha, look at this, guys. Left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and this is critical. If the Nasdaq 100 could hold 12,800, this is also known as the neckline. That is where the left shoulder held and rallied up. I think if we hold 12,800, there's a good chance we get back to 13,300, which is that big resistance here. And if the right shoulder completes, there's a good chance we break 13.3 and go straight to 13.5, 13.6. So technically speaking, those are a couple of things I'm looking at here when it comes to the Nasdaq 100. Am I panicking right now in the markets? No, I'm not. Quite frankly, I'm not going to say I knew this was going to happen, because that would just sound stupid. But I was anticipating maybe a little sell-off, so I haven't been making many moves the past couple of days. I've been waiting for this. So I kind of want to see, okay, are we going to sell off tomorrow? If so, I'll probably nibble a little bit. If we sell off next week, I'll add a little bit more. So we'll see how it goes, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Make sure to hit that like button. I challenge you guys. Let's try at least 300 likes on this video. And now let's talk about stocks I own. And like I kind of hinted to 20 seconds ago, I haven't been making many moves as of late. The market's been running up and up and up and away. And I bought a bunch of stocks on the way down in the past sell-off, and I built some positions up. And like I said, I'm looking to see if we sell off a bit more now, as we saw obviously a big dump in the markets. And I'll probably end up adding into my core swings at this point. One of them is Tesla. You guys know that Tesla ended up, let's take a look here. It went down 7% today. We're actually creeping under that big point of support, 670, 665. So that's not good, but still we could argue that this right shoulder is still intact. So we'll see if we do see a push back into the 700s. But if we end up, going clearly under 630, 640, we get to the low 600s, I mean, I'm probably going to add more Tesla there. And if we go to push towards those lows in the mid 500s, I'm definitely going to add more Tesla there. So I'm holding on to Tesla. And by the way, earlier today, I made a video. Make sure to go check it out down below, going over one of Tesla's competitors here, Volkswagen, which has a big plan for the next couple of years. And they're saying by 2025, Volkswagen's going to be, this is their own words, they're going to be the biggest EV maker. So make sure to check that video out down below. I talk more about Volkswagen in that video and whether or not they're a serious threat to Tesla. And yeah, I'm holding on to Tesla. I'm holding on to Tattooed Chef. Again, I don't want to bore you guys because I haven't made any new moves. I'm still holding on to the same old stuff. SLV, Tattooed Chef, Neo got crushed today, down 7%. Same with Tesla. So the ones I'm focusing on really are Neo and Tesla. And I'd probably put Tattooed Chef there at number 3, or probably even ChargePoint, CHPT. That is one that I like even more now, especially as, okay, today broke even, but still we're getting close to those lows from a couple weeks ago, earlier in March. So I like these stocks, guys. That's what I hold right now in terms of my swing account. And let me clarify, I have a swing trading account, which is what I talk about on this channel in terms of my moves there. But I have three main other long-term accounts, right? One of them's the M1 Finance account, which you guys can see on this YouTube channel. I have a main long-term account, and I have another retirement account. So that is how I've split things up. And when I'm talking about my moves here, I'm mostly talking about my short-term stuff, my swing trading account. And of course, I do throw in long-term investments that I'm looking at throughout the videos as well. So, I throw a bunch of stuff into these videos, and I'd love to know what you guys have to think. Let me know in the comments down below, stocks you're buying, selling, what are you looking at? And what do you think about the markets? Do you think we're going to drop further? Do you have cash ready? Look at my watch list, guys. Do you see a single piece of green? This is crazy. I don't see anything that's green here. I know Alibaba had a green day. CL had a green day, which is Colgate Palmolive. CIIC, which is another SPAC I like, had a green day. This one looks like it could be gearing to break out, so we might as well start talking about some stocks here. And by the way, if you guys do want to see my real-time buy and sell alerts, call-outs, morning update videos, and if you want more access to me throughout the day, check out my Patreon down below. That's if you guys want to be a part of that, and we're building a pretty cool community on there, so make sure to go check that out. And CIIC is one of the stocks, well, in this case a SPAC, that I'm looking at. We're right at a big resistance point on this 4 hour, and let me just redraw this or just remove it. I believe ultimately, yeah, we could squeeze deeper into this wedge, but I think a breakout is in store for CIIC. So I'm watching this one closely, and honestly, this wasn't even part of today's video. It just popped up in my head because it was one of the green SPACs today. So watch out for this one. I think a big move is coming, but with the markets being shaky, there's a bit more high risk when it comes to a SPAC like CIIC. And stock number one for this video that I actually have in my notes here is ExxonMobil. And I mentioned this a couple days ago that we were creeping under the 50 moving average here on the 4 hour. And I was looking at this and I said, guys, gear up for an XOM dump, maybe near $55, which we're pretty much near right now. And I also said maybe to the lower 50s, right around the 180 moving average here on the 4 hour chart. And that's what we're doing. we dumped off today 4.3%. I didn't add to my long-term position, but I'm getting ready. If it gets down to 52, 50, if it gets back to the 40s, guys, I'm going to be adding a lot more. And I've mentioned, I've been in ExxonMobil since 42, 45. I was buying, and it's not, let me put it this way, it's kind of hard averaging up in a position when you're already up like 10, 15, 20%, whatever I'm up at this point. So, I'm probably going to wait a little bit more, maybe 54, 53. But when it comes to my swing trading account, I'd probably pick up anywhere from 55, 57 if this were to hold and we get some momentum back up to the 60s. So I like ExxonMobil here. They also pay a pretty juicy dividend. At this point, it's got to be like 6 to 8%. Let me check my phone very quickly. ExxonMobil, it pays a 6%, 5.9% dividend. So I love the cash flow there. And and Beyond Meat is one that I'm also looking at, which, guys, I've been on the fence about investing in this one for some time. And like I said in the trading update, I talk about my swing account, but I also talk about my investments like ExxonMobil. And now I'm really seriously considering Beyond Meat as an investment. And the lower it gets, I'm tracking these technicals closely because the lower it gets, and you can see it clearly broke 137. That was a big point. Now we're in the gap between 137 as resistance and 125 as support. So now that we saw the dump off today, down 4%, I'm thinking, okay, the closer and closer it gets to the mid 120s, 127, 125, that is where I'm going to start a position. And if we somehow break under 125, go back to the low hundreds, I'm going to be averaging on the way down if that were to happen, and that's a big if. That might not happen. We could very well rip up from where we are now, but I'm looking to add a position in this one, and I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not a vegan. I eat meat. I'll be honest. I'm a meat eater. But over the past couple of years, I've tried, I'm serious, guys, many meat products or substitute meat products just for fun. I really like food, right? I like all types of food. I just love food. And I'm just a fat kid at heart, too. Let's be honest, guys. And I've tried all of these products. And Beyond Meat is by far the best. It's no question in my opinion. And I've had the breakfast sausages. Recently, I just got the meatballs yesterday. Actually, I haven't tried those yet, but I've tried the sausage patties. Right, you must go try those. I guarantee you'll like them. The links. I've tried the sausage links. I've tried the burgers. The one thing I gotta say, the burgers are a little fat. I mean, they're like this fat, but other than that, I wish they were a little bit thinner, but they're good. I mean, guys, this stuff is good. And when I invest my money in something, especially long term, I've got to like the product. Honestly, I've got to like it. And in this case, I love it. I love the product. The growth is there. The partnerships are there. And they're building a great brand name. I mean, Beyond Meat, the logo, it's becoming a staple. And one thing I've noticed over the past year in the supermarket I shop at, a lot more products are there from Beyond Meat. And I remember even 2-3 years ago, guys, I've been with this company tracking it for at least 3 years. I remember it only used to be the ground beef. And that's actually another reason, or that's the first thing I tried was the ground beef. It comes in like a frozen, the square. I tried that. And ever since then, I've been tracking them. And they've added so many more products to the repertoire. That's what I'm trying to make, the point I'm trying to make here. And the products are selling. Like I said, they just taste freaking amazing. I mean, it's crazy. I'm not a vegan, a vegetarian, but I actually eat those products a lot, pretty frequently. I mean, almost every day. I mean, yesterday I had waffles for breakfast with the sausages. But anyway, I feel like I'm talking too much about the food. I'm getting hungry, I'll be honest, guys. But watch out for Beyond Meat. It's a long-term opportunity, in my opinion, in this changing industry, which is the food industry. But there's risk because there is competition. I mean, there could be a company that comes out in the future that's better, or maybe an Amazon comes in and does something. We have to wait and see. But I like this. FedEx is another one that we talked about yesterday. I actually thought they were reporting earnings yesterday, but they reported earnings today. And like I've mentioned, FedEx has had great earnings as of late. The past couple of quarters have been great. And today they just reported, and the stock is up $10 after market hours. So that's a sign they're doing pretty decent. The EPS came in at $3.47 versus $3.24 estimated, and revenue came in at $21.5 billion versus $19.96 billion estimated. So they beat EPS, they beat revenue, and when it comes to the full year 2021 EPS, they're guiding between $17.60 to $18.20 versus the $17.40 estimated. So full year guidance for EPS looks good for this year 2021, and I'm not sure what the revenue guidance was or if they even gave revenue guidance, but I'm happy about that, guys. Beat EPS, beat revenue, guidance for EPS is looking good. And based on the technicals, again, like I said, this is up $10 after market hours. Look at that gap. We filled the gap up to the high from a couple trading days ago. That's at 272. In fact, we broke out of 272. And I've mentioned this before. This is a beautiful head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder pattern on FedEx here. And it's playing out. I think the next gap is up to 290, 300. I think that's where the stock is going. So watch out for FedEx. Nike is another one, which they reported earnings. They're actually down a couple bucks here after hours, and they did EPS, and their earnings weren't bad in terms of EPS. EPS came in at 90 cents versus 76 cents estimated, and revenue came in at $10.36 billion. This is probably why the stock is selling off. $10.3 billion versus $11.02 billion. So they missed revenue, and we're seeing, I mean, guys, we don't realize Some people don't. Some people obviously do. But people don't realize in general how big Nike is in China, how big of a brand that is in China. It is crazy. The Greater China sales, they're up 51% year over year. Nike direct sales, they're up 4 billion. They're at 4 billion rather. That is up 20% year over year. And the North American sales, they're down 10% year over year. So China, Nike's growing like a weed in China, but in the North American region, I'm assuming obviously that's the United States, we have Canada. It's not doing as well. It's down 10% year over year. But Nike, guys, I think this is a good brand. It's suffering now in the short term, but long term, it's fine. It's going to be one of those companies that it's going to be here. And I mean, they have some good cash and cash equivalents and short-term investments. They have 12.5 billion in that category. So Nike's going to weather the storm. They're going to be just fine. And technically speaking, I'm not going to lie, this is probably one of the uglier charts I've seen today. I mean, we have resistance at 147. We're approaching support kind of in the mid to low 130s, but we're still then again in the high 130s now. We might see a pushback. We might fill the gap to where we were during the session today, maybe $146. So I'd watch for that. Snapchat is another one where the technicals aren't looking amazing, but we're approaching we're kind of getting oversold. That's A. And B, we're approaching a point of support at about 57.50, 60, 70, right around there. That's actually a resistance from back in the middle of January. We also held it as support in the end of February. So I think we're getting a bit oversold. I think 57 could be a point where Snapchat sees a bounce back, a relief rally, whatever you want to call it. And, excuse me, guys, that could be anywhere from 57 up to 60, 61. And overall, Snapchat is definitely in a bear market. Let me take a look at that. Yeah, it's down 21%, so it's in a bear market, and I believe even if we get in the low 50s, these are buy points for Snapchat. So I'm watching it, guys. 57, I'd probably nibble some. 54, 53, 52, I'd buy a little bit heavier. So I like Snapchat here. Square is another one which today got absolutely hammered, down 9%. And now that I'm looking at this, we're seeing an inverse head and shoulder playing out. Let me show you this. If this point holds at 225, which is where the left shoulder held, you guys can see this. If we hold the neckline here at 220, 225, there's upside in my opinion. Square could get back to 240, 245, and the right shoulder has it completing anywhere from 265 to 285. But hold on, slow your horses. Let's not get all the way up there yet because we're still looking like a falling knife. So let's handle 225 first. If Square could hold that, then maybe we can get a push 230, 235, 240. So I like Square here. And maybe is this correlated to a Bitcoin drop? I don't know. I wasn't watching Bitcoin for the latter half of the trading day today. It was at 60K last time I checked. Right now, okay, there you go. It's at 57K. So maybe that sell-off in Bitcoin is attributing a little bit to Square, but then again, it's probably attributed Square sell-off more to that 10-year getting clobbered, or the 10-year going up rather, and that's killing the Nasdaq stocks, the tech stocks, the high-growth stocks. So Square, I like the dip here. We have to be patient with it though. And the last one, which I'm very close to also buying, is Palantir. I like this more as a swing. Actually, no, more as a long-term investment, rather. And I'm also looking at it as a swing as well. I think there is potential here. As we're approaching 23, I mean, 23 over the past couple of months, stemming back from December, has held. 23 held on the 3rd of December, all throughout the end of December, early January. So I'm looking at this as an oversold play. It's down well over 40% from its high, and I've done research, and I'm still doing more research on this company, and we actually had, did you guys see that IBM leak where we saw more in depth how Palantir works? And guys, that blew my mind today. I was very excited about that. What I saw today is actually pushing me more towards the edge of buying 100 shares, getting a starter position in this as a long-term play. But I want to do more research for a long-term investment, but as a swing trade, I'm willing to throw some money at it for the short term, as again, $23 I think will hold, and we will eventually get back towards the high 20s, low 30s. It's only a matter of time, and on top of that, we have a demo day coming up in April. I think it's like April 13th or 14th or 11th, one of those. That's going to be a big catalyst in my opinion as well. So Palantir, check out that video, the IBM leak video. That was crazy. I want to do more research into it to put a long-term stake into it. But again, as a swing trade, I think 23, 24 is all day for this stock. So, yeah, I want to end off the video there, guys. Hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Make sure to hit that like button. Let's try and get at least 300 likes on this video. And join that Discord chat if you haven't done so already. It's free. You could also get $16, well, 2 stocks valued up to $1,600 from WeBull. Those are down below waiting for you guys. Same with the $10 from M1 Finance and from Coinbase. Those are also down below. And make sure to also, if you guys want to, check out my Patreon. I'm doing buy and sell alerts on there, call outs, all real time. And I do morning update videos every single day. And I do, midday updates on Patreon sometimes. And you guys have more access one-on-one to me on that platform. So check that out down below. I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. As always, keep crushing the markets, guys. Stay safe out there. Peace out.